Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Colonel O'Truth's Miniature Issues. Today I'm starting work on the Eastgate of Undercrag City. I've already constructed a portcullis from plastic strip, and this will be held in the upwards position by a magnet with a small piece of metal stuck to the top of the strip. It slides in a plastic frame, as you can see. Unfortunately, we lost the footage of me building this, so you'll just have to take my word for it. But there will be another one later on when I do the south gate. Here you can see it working. Slides quite nicely in its plastic frame, and when up, the magnet does hold it in place. I didn't want it falling down and being annoying later in life, because I won't be able to get inside to adjust anything. I've left paper on the sides where it will intersect with the walls. And I'm going to start constructing the passageway through which you will enter the city, having come through the portcullis. I'm making this from a series of arches of different materials, foam board and yellow foam. I'm not trying to make it all from one piece of thick foam, as it's really hard to cut in precise lines if you don't have a hot wire cutter, and I don't. So I'm using thinner materials and building it up gradually. In the end, it won't matter. Make sure your knife's sharp. Cutting the foam board, the first cut just gets through the paper. The second cut goes through the lot. And cutting curves by hand. This is something that just takes practice. It can be pretty tricky. Here I've confused myself. I've cut the back wall, then I've forgotten that the 2 feet at the bottom of the model sit astride the road. Then I've decided that the back wall is not as tall as it should be, so now I'm making a strip to go across the top to make up the height. And then later on I'll realise that wasn't needed. This stuff happens when you're model making at 5 in the morning, hence the dressing gown. There we go, one beautifully produced, completely unnecessary strip of board. Moving on. I'm tracing the shape of the arch onto the yellow foam that will make up the stonework in the middle of the passage. I've got to be mindful when constructing all of this that somehow I've got to get wires into the construction as well. As with everything else, there will be LED lighting inside. You can see it's harder to cut a good curve here because the material is thicker. A little bit of fine sandpaper to just smooth away the worst of the cut marks. I'll be drawing stonework into this, and it will barely ever be seen after this point, so it's not a major. One in place, now I've cut another one. You can see here I've removed the strip of foam board from the top. And the back wall's going to go in fairly shortly. Now I've got windows and doors in this back wall, as I'm going to put a balcony on the back overlooking the street. Same procedure as with the earlier tower, just cutting rectangles for the windows and doors and then building them later, putting them on. Here I'm boxing in the upper floor. It's important that everything inside the model that could be seen through a window is black. I want to make it difficult to see clearly. Plus, of course, being castle windows, these don't have glass in them to obscure the view. Peeling off the paper for detailing. You'll notice through the building of Undercrag City that some of the processes don't make a lot of sense if you apply a logical order to them. This is because I'm designing as I go, rather than planning everything in advance. I'm letting things be a bit organic. I prefer working this way because it gives full scope for my imagination. This is also the reason that I almost failed A-level art. No prep work. Never mind. Do your prep drawings later and pretend you did them first. No one will ever know. Anyway, back to the gatehouse. Plenty of glue here. This needs to be nice and solid. So that's the structure largely done. Have another play with the portcullis. No doubt that it would work, but it's fun, isn't it? Jumping swiftly on, I've constructed a tower on the corner, and I'm looking at how this will intersect with the south wall. Now it's time to cut out the battlements for the tower. I've already added battlements to the main body of the gatehouse. These all follow the same template as I've used on the east tower. You can also see I've labelled these pieces south and west. I find this very useful, as once you've cut everything out and it's scattered around on your table, you can easily forget which bit is which. Cutting out the overhang, just by hand, doesn't need to be perfect. Slicing only through the paper there to leave a little bit on where it's gluing to the model. And peeling off to do the detailing. Now now cutting the corners. All of this is quite rough, and it will leave gaps. That's okay. I'm building up the bulk of the model here. The gaps will be corrected with sand. I like to work quickly and see results, even if they're not perfect, and then fix up mistakes later on. You can also see that while I've been working on this gate, I've been working on the water gate. I'll be covering this in a later video. The overhang there on the tallest part of the tower will eventually be built up with a door underneath it. All just extra detailing for later on. And finally, the last little piece of battlement. Whoops. Just cleaning little bits of rubbish out before they stick themselves to the model. And once the glue is dry, it'll be time to draw all the stonework with a pencil. Checking that it fits in with the rest of the model, and that's a nice snug fit. As you can see, the portcullis neatly covers where the road will be. And there's the beginning of the stonework. Lots and lots of pencil work. The gaps have been filled with PVA and sand. This will be painted to look like stone and moss later on, just like the walls in the first tower. You can see there's stonework inside the tunnel as well. Working lighting inside. So there we go, a working portcullis in the gatehouse and tower. I'll be covering the fine detailing and painting in the next episode. Thanks for watching, hope to see you next time. Bye for now.